and actually tell us how he went through his life journey. And we can pick something for each one of us, because all of us go through the similar joy, pain, sorrow, success in life, but we think we are very special. We are not. There are many special people, many better people than each one of us. This is all about that learning life experience from each other. Before I can actually give the mic to Badri, I just wanted to tell you why we are doing this. As a company, we have been fostering excellence. That's why we are here where we are. Right? We have grown from a few 14, 15 people in 2011 to almost 150 people, and spread across 2 countries and 3 offices. That's precisely because we are all very ordinary people. We have come together, but we are working very hard, and we are trying to make good for ourselves as a team. And we will continue to march on with all your support and all your passion. Okay? Important thing is for this year is we actually formulated our Women at Work program called RADA. This program is now gaining a lot of momentum. The industry is also keen to know and work with us in that program. So we think we can make this program available to the larger industry in Chennai and in India. We are also getting associated with the Adyar Cancer Institute in a small way, wherever we can contribute. So Badri, I was told, won't accept any gift for the presentation. So whatever we think of giving him, we will give it to the Cancer Society. Right, Badri? With that, I really want to welcome you on stage and share your thoughts. How he is going to do it, I don't know. I have not prepared him, so it's up to him. And but what he told me, and I like this, he would like to take questions from you. So with that, Badri, stage is yours.
Good afternoon. Some of you might have possibly seen me in some television programs discussing politics and current affairs and aggressively fighting with each other to put our point across. I don't usually fight, but this is a different kind of a topic. I'm going to talk about myself, not to give anybody any advice. None of us actually want an advice from another person to follow. But there are always things that one can pick up from other people's lives. I will differ with Stephen on one point. This ordinary, extraordinary, there is nothing like that. We are all unique in our own way. I have followed a certain path, many of which I didn't decide. Things happened. And that's the theme, that's a recurring theme that I want to sort of cover. I sort of split my timeline, and we're talking about a 45-minute period, so I will have my stopwatch on. So I'll split this into 4 parts. My time in Nagapattinam, which is where I did my schooling, my first 17 years of my life. Then from there on, the next 9 years, really, which shaped a lot of things. I spent time in IIT Madras and Cornell University. The next 8 years or so where I was involved in building Cricinfo, and then the last roughly 2 decades since that time. Again, another 15 years, not exactly 2 decades. I was born and brought up in Nagapattinam. Technically not born in Nagapattinam, I was born in Kumbakonam in a hospital. But spent all my life in Nagapattinam till my 12th standard. A very orthodox and conservative family. Nagapattinam is a small seaside town for some of you who may not be aware. Part of the old Tanjavur district, now part of, it's a district of its own with the district headquarters being in Nagapattinam. My father was a school teacher there in a school called National High Secondary School. So we were, in a sense, a comfortable middle class family. It was a government salaried job. It was a government aided school. So we were, in a sense, part of a privileged family. And a family which emphasized a lot on education. And educational achievement was something that was sort of drummed into us day in and day out. The first few years of my schooling, I showed a lot of promise. I was a top student all through. Some people you see are not so they don't get top ranks in the early schooling period, but then at a certain point in time suddenly they start taking off. In my case, no such difference whatsoever. From day one to till when I actually completed my school and college, I was always at the top of the class. So there was a lot of encouragement from the family, and you know how it was in those days, right? And it continues even now. So if you do well, doctor or engineer. Very unfortunate. But I can tell you one thing. I'm, after going through all the engineering college and various other things, I've not done anything useful in engineering. Okay. So, one thing that I have learned is to not force your children into a specific area, because it's not your job. It's theirs to decide what they want to do. So I was always getting top marks in the school, and my mother was the only one who was sort of, though my father was a school teacher, it was my mother who was very particular about my education. Not that she was actually guiding me with anything, but just her mere presence, always guiding, pushing. Now we call it tiger moms, right? So she was not exactly a tiger mom. I mean, that was not part of the culture then, but she was always there, demanding, why I dropped 1 mark in one particular subject. So getting 100 out of 100 was a kind of a big thing for me at that time. As a family, we were not a book reading family. In fact, there was no additional expense whatsoever. Like, we never bought newspapers at home, we never bought printed books whatsoever. But I distinctly remember when I was in my first standard in the summer holidays, the neighbor, they had a box full of comic books, all in Tamil, Muthu comics and Lion comics. Is there anybody here who has read Muthu comics and Lion comics? Yeah, fantastic. There are a couple of older people in the front row, because the younger ones wouldn't even know. Just, it was probably the best time that I've ever had, and I still remember. A box full of books, the first standard, probably just about learnt over the previous 2 years, I had gone to every single book completely, probably twice, thrice in that particular summer holiday. It was a great world for me. I mean, all this Mandaravadi, Mandrake, and Vedalam, Phantom. So many of them in English that some of you may be aware. Fantastic translations by somebody from Sivagasi, a very innovative group. So it was fascinating for me to read and get into a new world, and book reading got into me. By then I was into second standard. My mother, along with a bunch of ladies around, pulled together money to start buying magazines. They were running their own shared lending library. They were getting all kinds of magazines like Vigadan, Kumudam, Kalki, Kalaimagal, Idayam, Savi, probably 10-15 magazines. And I used to be the first reader of all those magazines from second standard. I didn't make head or tail of much of what I was reading, but reading became an obsession to me. So if something is on print, I must read that. So all this, the I was reading every bit of whatever I could get hold of. By then I was into third standard. I was winning prizes. I studied till my 5th standard primary schooling in a Christian school. So Bible was a usual prize, which I read through completely right at that time, causing a lot of consternation in the family. In why is he reading Bible kind of a thing. But it didn't really matter. I mean, as he said, anything that is printed, I'll read. And by 4th standard, I was getting involved in other competitions outside of the school. I started reading a big book, 1,000-pager Mahabharata, I remember, all in Tamil. So I was had no way of reading English, because for us at the time, English started only at 3rd standard level. And we'll have just few words that we could spell in 3rd standard. And 4th standard is when we start writing with pencil. And it's a slow growth model, unlike the LKG, UKG, where we just force our children to write complex things together. I consistently topped my class, moved to my father's school when I moved to 6th standard, and continued to excel in studies, and ended up as state 10th in the 10th standard, and probably in the top 20 in the 12th standard. But a big life-changing event happened for me in 10th standard holidays. Since my father was a school teacher, students in those days, at least in small towns, and I have no idea how it is in bigger cities or even smaller towns today, students who had studied in a particular teacher's class will come and meet the teacher offline, after they had graduated. So one of the students who had gone on to study in College of Engineering, Indy, and had joined Indian Railways as an engineer, had come to meet my father, and I was in my 10th standard holiday, just pottering around at home, doing nothing useful, basically. So there he was talking to my father, and then chanced around, looked at me and said, what are you doing? I said, I've just passed my 10th, or probably I was waiting for my results, I don't remember now clearly. Then he said, you should, he told my father that your son should prepare for IIT. My father had no idea what it meant. He just had two acronyms, IIT and JEE, which we had no understanding of. But my father is a very tenacious person. So he went around finding out what it actually meant, then figured out that it was some kind of an entrance exam, for which you have to do a lot of preparation. It is not just that you pass your 12th and then go and write this exam. Went around collecting material from people who had already prepared for that. And when I started getting hold of the material, for the first time, I could find considerable challenge, some kind of an intellectual challenge really. Otherwise, schooling was very easy for me. Now here I had a lot of material, I could read them, I could sort of understand them, but I couldn't actually deal with the problems that had accompanied those lessons. Though I didn't really have much of an interest in, I didn't know what IITs meant, or whether I should be really preparing for it. The very challenge in the problems actually drew me. The next 2 years, I had really one of the greatest times over this last so many years, trying to break my head over physics and math material with nobody to teach me or guide me. Because our teachers were by and large good people. Now I have great regard for them. Fairly innocent, didn't really know what the subjects were, what the possibilities were, but fantastic people. But beyond that, nothing. They were not great or good teachers who could guide me or teach me into something much bigger or better than what I already was. So those 2 years, 86 and 87, 85, 86 and 86, 87, it was time for me to learn for myself the world of physics and math. And I thoroughly enjoyed those 2 years. And I appeared for JEE without realizing what I was getting into. Extremely tough exam, but just turned out that I just got in got some rank of 469, I still remember that. Then went through counseling. I was fascinated with aeronautical engineering, like most kids were, because aeroplane was something that was way beyond our reach. So I thought, by joining aeronautical engineering, we will all be allowed to fly aeroplanes, which was not the case. So there was one good professor during the counseling program, and he said, don't do such stupid things. Go and take up mechanical engineering. And my father, who had accompanied me, all very, very conservative people. Coding. So that was it. So we just filled up mechanical engineering, IIT Madras, mechanical engineering, IIT Bombay, mechanical engineering, IIT Delhi, and then completed our counseling. Got into IIT Madras, and then totally new phase started. It was a fascinating place, a place where I really for the first time learned that there could be so many brilliant people in one single place packed together. It started showing the kind of inadequacies I had. Speaking in English was a very difficult thing for me. Even the kind of knowledge your peers possessed was quite amazing, the kind of talent they had. They were excellent sportsmen. There were people who were very good in writing, music. There were people playing guitar, playing flute, and they knew about so much in Carnatic music. And even in studies, there were people who were talking about quantum mechanics, something that I had not heard about, and fundamentals of physics. I had absolutely no fundamentals in physics at all, because I was completely self-taught, and I had basically worked out a bunch of sums out of some coaching material. That was it. It just put you on the defensive, but also it challenged me. So I had only two choices: either give up and run away, or compete with them. And I really liked the challenge. It really raised my level up to many of them on many of the things. But on academics, I could excel. By third semester, I topped my branch. Until the end, I ended up as the topper in mechanical engineering bank, and won the Banco Foundation Gold Medal or something for mechanical engineering. But it was also there that the peers, it was only the peers, not your professor or anyone. By the end of first year, all of them were preparing for GI. And I had no idea what that actually meant. So it was others who guided me. Said there is something that you can go abroad. Go abroad for what? You can go and do a PhD. Why would you do a PhD? I had no idea about any of that. But then we were all swept by the flow that was the current that was generally driving us in a certain direction. And because I had good grades and good marks, I just followed whatever everyone was doing, prepared for GRE, prepared for TOEFL. Didn't really do extremely well, but well enough to get into all the universities that I had applied for, and ended up in Cornell. Why I chose Cornell, I don't know now. It was more about, and I remember applying to Cornell, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, Ohio State University, Rensselaer Polytechnic, MIT. I got into all but MIT. That's what I actually wanted to get into, but I couldn't get into that place. So next best Cornell I got in. And that opened up an entirely next different phase. But all along, my reading continued. IIT had a great hostel library. We had all kinds of fiction. We were getting all sorts of newspapers. So if I had read all those books, which was fairly new to me coming from Nagapattinam, going to Cornell actually allowed me to read more on Tamil. We had a fantastic library in Cornell University called Call A Croc Asian Collection, which had the entire Tamil classic collection of books. There was a program called PL 486 when India was fairly poor and was desperate for food. So Americans supplied us with a lot of wheat, and in return for that we had nothing much to give, so we gave our books, so that Badri could go to Cornell and read those books. I remember reading everything from Purplequay to Kalki to whole of Kanayari collections to Manikudi writers, to Mauni, Ashokamitran, Indira Parsarthi, Jayaganthan. I was brushing up on my Tamil reading in Cornell. But I also read so many other things. The research went on, but then another big change happened. Cricket info. So when I was reasonably interested in cricket, I used to play roadside cricket and fairly competitive cricket matches at the school level, Nagapattinam level, nothing more. When I went to IIT, I wanted to actually play cricket seriously, but I was challenged in the sense that I didn't have proper shoes, I didn't have my own set of gloves, bat, etc. And I didn't really feel like asking my father to pay for all of that. I mean, we're okay, middle class, but moderate, not like so well off that I could ask for thousands of rupees to buy this equipment. So I decided to drop out of. I went for practice for the first few days, but looking at what others had, I decided, okay, no, I'm not actually getting into this, and pulled out of it. But I was always interested in watching cricket matches, and right from even school days, I used to read a lot. Hindu paper, we were not buying it, but one of the neighbor was buying the paper, and I start from the sports pitch, and then go all the way to the front. I was also getting Sports Star in the library, the Nagapattinam branch library, the government library. So I used to read all of them, and we didn't have access to television that much in those days. But I was sort of visualizing the sports field through the written word. So for me, the written word is extremely important. I am talking to you now, but there is a written word in front of me, something that I can publish right away. I have completely written the speech, of course slightly different in structure, but it sort of guides me into whatever I am talking to you. The written words really powerful in my opinion. I'm digressing, I'll come back to Cornell. So when I reached Cornell, it was, as far as cricket was concerned, it was a complete desert. We had access to no cricket whatsoever. There was nothing on television. The internet is, what we know today has nothing to do with what we had at that time. I bought a very expensive shortwave radio. I remember spending about $500 for a shortwave radio. Because at that time, BBC was broadcasting a lot of commentary from West Indies. But unfortunately, within a year of my buying that radio, they decided to stop broadcasting from West Indies. So, gone were the shortwave radio commentary. We used to get BBC radio commentary in shortwave in India, which I remember listening to that in the normal radio that we used to have. Then one of the FM stations in New York City used to broadcast West Indies cricket match commentary alone. So at least the radio was helpful for me to get the scores of West Indies cricket match. So we were so desperate, I started looking out for how to go about getting scores. So one was through newspapers. We used to get in Cornell, there were multiple libraries, and we were getting newspapers from all around the world. Newspapers from England, newspapers from India. Newspapers from England used to come within 3 days. From India, it used to take about 7 to 10 days. But at least, I was keeping in touch with all the cricket matches. And then I discovered a Usenet news group called rec.sport.cricket. How many of you remember rec.sport.cricket? One. Okay. So I became a subscriber to that, and because it had people from Australia and Britain, in addition to people in US, we could get some kind of summarized scores. And also some Indians who used to call their parents at home in India. And the AT&T calling rates were more like between $1.5 to $2 a minute or something like that. so pretty expensive to get scores. And they used to post the scores as details in the Red Sport cricket. 92 was when the Australia-New Zealand World Cup happened. And one of the persons involved in, he was a very senior officer in the Australian internet, person called Robert Ells. He had a great internet connection obviously and TV in his room, and every 5 hours he will follow the World Cup match, write a brief scorecard and a summary, and he will circulate that through Sport Cricket. There are also two mailing lists called Cricket and Cricket S, short for Cricket Scores, run by a professor called Shankara Rao, who died very recently, just about a month back. And he was a professor in North Dakota State University. So he was a professor of computer science and abused his privileges and ran the cricket news groups in his IBM mainframe computer. And we were all subscribed to that to get this course. So you can see, I'm just setting the context for it. So this was a situation where in 1993, internet relay chat had emerged as a sort of platform where people could real-time live start communicating cricket scores. Well, not just cricket scores, many things. And it became very popular during the Iraq war time. But then it was rediscovered as all kinds of interesting platforms subsequently. So many of the cricket fans could come together on the internet relay chat platform. So on the one side you have these mailing news groups, then you have the Usenet news group, then you have IRC. So there was this critical mass. For few of us to come together as volunteers to visualize quick info. The basic idea came from a person called Simon King, who was then a postdoctoral researcher in University of Minnesota, who had a PhD in nuclear physics. So he, along with many of us as volunteers, decided to build some kind of cricket database. Then we moved along with cricketing innovation as well as computing innovation, moved to Gopher. Again, how many of you remember Gopher? Because again, only 1%. So we moved and ported a lot of these scores onto Gopher. Then the World Wide Web, which all of you are familiar with. So all these other platforms like IRC vanished, Gopher vanished. IRC today lives in the form of variation of that. Subsequently, the America Online Instant Messenger came up, and now you have the Twitter. I could look at as the closest equivalent to IRC. So World Wide Web happened. 94 we ported everything to World Wide Web. Notice that we were all complete volunteers. Even we were all graduate students in various educational institutions. We were either graduate students or faculty members. Then by 1996, we had reached the next critical period. I was completing my PhD, and Simon King had gone back to UK to do further research. Well, he was not getting any faculty position after a postdoc as well. So he used to be a researcher in University College of London, and we had to really decide what to do at that point in time. So I took a big jump. In 96, I decided to completely give up on my academic career and came back to India within a week of completing my thesis defense. Along the way, went to London, met Simon for the first time, and we decided to basically register a company called Purplequay Limited in UK and figure out. I'm not talking about days like now when you have an idea, you take it to a venture capitalist and somebody gives you money. None of that. Completely, clueless, to be honest. For a week, we were spending time in UK trying to write a business plan, and we had no clue how to write a business plan. So we just abandoned that idea of building a business plan and said let's actually build a product rather than a business plan. So I came back to India, and he remained in London. Then we got into the next challenge. 96, November 96, October end, November beginning, I come to India. Internet connectivity is awful here. Right? It was only a year before that internet had been introduced by BSNL. There were dial-up connections, which was extremely poor, 56 kbps, of which you will probably get only half of that. But the battle, I'm not going to go into the details of that because it will take too long. The next couple of years, we could actually build some kind of a business model. I could hire people. We generated advertising revenue. We pioneered, as far as India was concerned, in a sense, we pioneered internet advertising, I would say. I could work with ad agencies. We could have companies like Intel paying us monthly advertising retainership, basically. So it was an amazing time. So between 96 and 99, we built a great product. I mean, if you go to the Wayback Machine, you will see screenshots of Quick-Info right through this period. They look ugly. If you look at it now, they look absolutely ugly. But I can tell you one thing. At the time, probably all the cricket fans thought it was the greatest product ever built. Our tastes have changed. Designs have changed. Color schemes have changed. Everything has become more beautiful now. But everything was beautiful even then. In terms of usability, the scores, what you were getting. Over this period, 96 to 99, we had to build a structure for the organization and we had to also get funding. So we went to ICC, International Cricket Council, which was then emerging from the shadows of England and Australian cricket boards. Basically, ICC at the time had no funding whatsoever. They were given monthly handouts by England and Australian cricket boards. Only two rich cricket boards in the world in those days. India was just about turning the corner to become the superstar of world cricket. Today, India generates more than 50% of all cricketing revenues, probably 60% even. Right? That was not the case then. It was just about happening. It was all happening. 1990s, those of you who remember when cable TV came, cable and satellite television, ESPN, Star Sports, so many things were happening at that point in time, and far better coverage than anything that we were used to in cricket. Then in that period, we were trying to go and tell ICC to take us over, take over Cricket-Info. We will be great for you. You will be able to generate a lot of revenue. And ICC was totally worried about this whole prospect. These guys were coming and offering something to us, which we don't want to even touch. So after a series of board meetings, they decided not to take our offer. We offered us for $0, by the way. So they said no, it is only a headache. We will have to take over you, then we will have to spend on you and all that, we don't want it. So in 1999, finally we had to look out for external funding. And within a period of 1 year, first we got 150,000 pounds after getting rejected by ICC for $0. Within 2 months, we had seed funding of about 150,000 pounds. Within about 3 months of that, we had a £3 million infusion cash. And within about 4 months of that, we were valued at $150 million US, with $37.5 million coming to us. I don't worry, we lost all that money. Within a year, we had no money in hand. So again, if I have to expand that particular period, it will take some few hours. But I will quickly trace the fact that after being valued at $150 million US, between 90 to 150 million, different people offered different money for different kind of stake, for different kind of strategic partnerships. Finally, we settled on the $150 million valuation, which was when SIFI, Satyam Infoway, had invested for 25% stake, the 37.5. Unfortunately, the whole market crashed immediately after that. There was a short period when the actual stocks went up in Nasdaq, but then there was global meltdown, dot-com bust. But what had happened was that with all the money that we had gotten, we started offices all around the world, in every cricket playing country. We funded Women's World Cup. Women's World Cup, even to this day, is like least Carifa. Anybody here, including the women here, remember watching Women's World Cup matches? No, because I can assure you, you wouldn't. They are telecast now. At that time, it was not even. In 99, 2000, we set up camera crew. The matches were being played in New Zealand. I sent a team to cover all the matches, and we streamed them live on the web. Probably seen by about 250 people or so, not more than that. But the key was that we were ready to support, and we took sponsorship of county championship in UK. It was called Cooking for County Championship for at least 1 year. So we were throwing money all over the place. But in hindsight, we shouldn't have actually done that. We should have preserved the money, built the sales teams, built even better product. All that you can talk about now. But our investment bankers were saying, hey, don't worry about all of that. Next valuation is $250 million. After that, $500 million. So all we want, more page views. So get more interesting things out. Anyway, so by 2000 we were in trouble. Fortunately for us, SIFI supported us. They gave us loan. They didn't want to invest as equity more money. Not only did they give us loan, they also gave us a person, which I consider is far more valuable. I still remember his name. A person called Naresh Vidal. I don't know whether any of you here have ever come across. I don't even know where he is now. I have to actually locate him. He guided us. He was managing some products or the other, but for about good 5-6 months, when we were going through extremely troubled times, he guided us, showed us how to run our business, helped us cut our costs considerably, increase our revenue by tweaking few things here and there. It was probably the best business college I ever went to, the time that I spent with him. We had a little fallout internally. Simon King was pushed out. So I had the entire burden of managing the whole thing. There were few other founders who all left. We moved a lot of operations to India. The next 2 years, quite a bit of struggle. Over 2001, 2002, we sort of stabilized the company. But unknown to us, there was something else that was brewing in the Satyam family. Satyam Computers, soon to be outed as people who had done some bad things in their company. They owned majority stake in Satyam Infoway, which owned a controlling stake, only 25%, but they had in paper virtually the entire company. So Satyam Computers was asking Satyam Infoway to sell all the non-core assets, and we were one of the non-core assets, and we were put on the chopping block. There was no buyer. There was no buyer. Finally, we struggled and found one buyer. He was a very fascinating person called John Paul Getty. I've written some of these things in my blogs. It's a story, it's a book worth writing. There aren't any books already. He is an American, born in a moneyed family, went into bad ways, was caught, one of the actresses he was spending time with in Italy, drug overdose, had killed herself. And he was going to be arrested. And I'm just giving you just the one-liner for a movie. So he called his family lawyer, and the lawyer said, I don't know what you'll do, but just take the next flight and go to London. Because at that time, Italy did not have an extradition treaty with UK. So that was the only reason. So he flew to London, and the case was dealt with later. And he was also obviously into drugs, and he needed to be weaned off the drugs. There in the hospital where he was convalescing, his neighbor was a very famous cricketer, Fred Truman. He didn't know anything, and he had a different problem, not a drug problem. He had broken his leg, and he was going through some patching. So they became friends, and something in the conversation and about cricket came, and John Paul Getty somehow figured out, or decided that his healing, cricket had a major role to play in his healing. And he decided thereafter that when he got his money, his father refused to give him any money for seeing that kind of a son. But the grandparents were more benevolent and they were giving him pocket money of only few $1 million. But very soon he got billions of dollars once his father died. So he decided to spend the money. So he used to tell people his job is philanthropist. So he started spending money on cricket. He started spending money on his cousins and brothers set up Getty Museum in US and would go about buying all kinds of artifacts from around the world. Now, John Paul Getty, junior or third is his thing, all father is also John Paul Getty, grandfather is also John Paul Getty. So this fellow will counterbuild, get the same material and give it back to the people from whom it was taken away. So he was a maverick. He had acquired Wisden Cricket Almanac. Anybody here know about that? It's a marquee publication, more than 100 plus years. Annual cricket scores all put together into one single publication. He also funded Wisden Cricket Monthly and he had funded Wisden.com, which was building a cricket website. So they had all the money, we had all the scores and audience and no money. So he decided to buy and merge the two. So we could find only one buyer. So he bought Cricinfo, merged, but the only thing his accountant said was, we'll buy you out only 100%. So all of us had to exit at fairly low valuations. And so we eventually made no money whatsoever to talk of. But that's okay. I mean, we ended up producing a fantastic product. I continued to work there. The merger happened, Wisden Cricinfo formed, and very soon they figured out that Cricinfo was a real brand. So they actually started calling it Cricinfo. But unfortunately, again, another twist to the story. Within few months of buying, John Paul Getty died. And he was the only one in the family who even loved cricket. His son Mark Getty, an American, who founded Getty Images. Many of us get our photographs through. So he is himself a millionaire. He had launched that nice stock exchange and made a lot of money. His father also died intestate without writing a will. So this whole Cricinfo had to be sort of disposed of to generate money to split amongst that one son and many daughters. So Mark Getty found a team, sent them to Cricinfo, which I was basically doing all the operations, managing the entire core stuff. But he said, now fatten it, sell it, get some money so that we will actually put it as part of our family total inheritance and divide it. So that was a point at which I decided to leave Cricinfo because it was very unclear to us as in what was happening. So I left Cricinfo. Within a couple of years, Cricinfo was sold to ESPN.com. That is, Disney owned ESPN. To this day, it is part of Disney, doing quite well. There are competitors to Cricinfo, but it is at a different level. The team that I hired, many of them are still running key aspects of Cricinfo. So I still continue to interact with them, but I don't have any direct relationship with Cricinfo. So my next phase started after this. After leaving Cricinfo, I decided, along with a colleague of mine, to get into something entirely different, into book publishing. I was passionate about books. I was a major book reader myself. We came together and came up with this idea that for a society, for an economy to grow, for a society to become a top-class society, it had to be a book-reading society. Or so I thought. So we said, we are going to introduce this revolution. We were looking at all the books that were available at that time, not really happy with what was happening. And we focused on Indian languages, the vernacular languages. So we wrote a fantastic business plan. So one thing that I learned over this period was to write a business plan and convince people to invest money. So we raised money, including from VC, for our publishing venture. We raised nearly some 7, 8, 10 crores, close to 10 crores. And we put some of our own money into that and started the New Horizon Media, that you see here. Our idea was to get into 10 Indian languages and also English. the 4 South Indian languages and Hindi and Gujarati, Punjabi, Bengali, Marathi, Urdu, every conceivable, Odia, whole bunch of Indian languages. Then we found that the whole process was extremely difficult. I am battling with publishing for the last 15 years, continuing to do that, but dragging it to the modernity is extremely difficult. People are extremely conservative. They take, it's not one person's job. It's much bigger than what one person can do. I in fact made a presentation on the various initiatives that I have done in publishing, which have all failed. So it's a more than 1 hour presentation on where all, what all I tried and failed in book publishing. But to this day, I'm continuing with that. I'm doing less of those experiments now. I don't want to lose much more money in that, but I'm going to continue to work in the publishing space. One of the key learning is that I find that people have not been readers in India. I mean, we didn't have great literacy to start with, but we are basically a oral country. I mean, we want to, we are a country where people give out katha karakshepams, and you have to basically listen to these stories, which is why we moved very easily from that to, even after literacy, we have moved to television very comfortably, because we want somebody to tell us stories. We don't want to read and imagine a world of our own. So that's a struggle, but I have a different view. I don't want to bug you with my thoughts on why reading is important, etc. So my life after that, I focused on 3 areas. So this book publishing continues. Let's see what I do in the coming decade, but I'm going to stick to that, albeit lesser percentage of my time. The 3 major areas that I will conclude. One, I am extremely interested in mentoring youngsters who are setting up new companies. So I am fairly involved in the scene here, not in a very, I am not a VC or an investment banker guiding people, but anyone who is interested in starting a new venture and they come to me or I see them, I go out of my way to pull them in and help them. There are a couple of companies that I have mentored and helped in the IIT Madras Research Park, IIT Madras initiated incubated companies. There are a few other companies outside of that I regularly work with. That is one area. Second, I have started closely working with one engineering college, Savita Engineering College, because I see that there is a huge gap between what the engineering colleges push out as students and what the world wants. Or even for a minute, not looking at it as what the world wants, what a student can do or achieve in his or her life to what they end up achieving because they have gone through 4 years of engineering education, which is unfortunately not good at all. So I want to get involved in that in some way to mentor both the faculty members and the students, and I've started doing certain activities. The third area that I am extremely passionate and interested in and doing a lot of good stuff, I will pat myself on the back for that, is in heritage. So I am a key person in a trust called Tamil Heritage Trust. We organize a whole range of programs, including a monthly lecture, annual lecture series, a lot of tours to great heritage places. We put out publications, a lot of informal ones, but we are going to get into a lot more of formal books, websites, to really learn and appreciate what is around us, what more than 2000 years of Indian culture has created and left for us to appreciate and enjoy. So that is an area that I am extremely passionate about. So these are the 3 things that I am working on, besides all these little commercial ventures. As a businessman, I don't think I have really achieved great heights. Very, very moderate success is what I would say. but as a builder of products. I mean, I'm extremely proud of both Cricinfo as a brand and Purplequay as a brand that I've built, and a few more things that I'm working on which will happen down the line. I waste a lot of time on TV debating things unnecessarily because I get pulled into that. I do something similar on Facebook as well. So many of you would have seen me arguing, writing about everything from American politics to Indian politics to many other things, math, science, etc. But engaging with people is something that I like. I don't get easily flustered. I can take an argument which completely disproves my theory and shows me as a complete dumbo. I can take it on and not really move away from there, accept it and appreciate the other person for giving me a good lesson. Well, that's it. I mean, I have nothing more to add about myself. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to.
Thank you, Badri. That was super awesome. So I would like for all those who want to ask questions to Badri, we have a mic here. I have this side and Pooja has a mic that side. So anybody want to ask questions? Anybody here?
Thank you, Badri. Can you spend a few minutes on your publication? I know you worked a lot, you skipped that whole chunk of things. But on the publication and especially on the Tamil language, because I'm sure a lot of Tamil readers are here.
In 2004, I started this Purplequay, New Horizon Media as the company, and Purplequay as an imprint. So it's about 15 years now. We published over 2,200 titles so far. They range from, all these are only in Tamil, the books are all in Tamil, ranging from various biographies, political histories, some fiction, a lot of translations from English to Tamil, some translations from Malayalam and a few other languages as well. We built a very modern looking outfit. I mean, like how you would run any other company in the, let's say, IT or a fintech space, with empowered employees, large sales team, all that has not yielded the kind of results that we are looking for. But we our understanding of the publishing platform is really solid. I mean, we have come up with a lot of good books in Tamil. I don't know how many of you have actually picked up any of our books and read them. Many of the books, we were pioneers in getting attractive looking books, designing the cover image in an attractive manner, easy to read writing style, flowing, understandable writing, by way of putting a lot of emphasis on editing. A lot of work goes into making a book work, and that's the kind of effort that we have put into that. A lot of technology we have brought into that. For example, we initiated the whole idea of a book being written in a computer, getting edited in a computer, and then without using a piece of paper, end to end, the book gets processed, and the last stage is when it gets actually printed. And we were the pioneers in getting e-books out. We are the largest in terms of the number of books out there on Kindle platform in Tamil as of now. So we have done a lot in that. Maybe I will. Those of you interested, we can talk offline.
Next question, sorry.
Yeah, sir. After listening from you that you have developed many products, and I just have a question, that how are you managing a team? How are you managing the people? How are you dealing with people?
My style is to completely empower them. So I will not do any kind of micromanagement at all. I allow them to make mistakes and fully back them. For example, first thing is to get first set of people, build enough confidence, because in the Indian context again, particularly the kind of places that we work, whether it is the publishing space or even for that matter in Cricinfo, the idea is to empower the individual, allow them to go and build their own team without meddling at all, but only set the external parameter. I mean, this is what I want you to deliver. Do it your own way. Give me something that I will really appreciate. So I set just the outline of it. How do you go about doing that? Did you do this like this? Did you follow these following steps? It's not my concern at all. So that's how I have been doing that. It has resulted in reasonable success, I would say, to the extent that I can actually vanish for the next few months and still the company will run. Because it's only because of that I am actually involved in 2 or 3 other ventures, and those who are running that I know will run it. They won't run it like I do, but probably they will run it better than I do. I don't know, but I can enable them and let them do it. I mean, there is no way you can do all the things. So I stay away as far as possible. There are times when people don't know when I will be there in the office actually. So I always tell them don't take it for granted that I will be there in the office today. If you want to meet me, fix up an appointment with me like anybody else outside. Because half the time I am not in the office. More than half the time.
Quick question, Badri. Who is your role model or your inspiration?
I have picked things from different people. I mentioned Naresh Shukla. Still, for me, he was a major role model because he was totally unfazed when he looked at where we were, our situation. Normally, somebody would say, "No, I am not touching this, the 10-foot barge food. This is like a toxic asset. I mean, you have no revenue, you have huge expense, you have no market. There's nobody to buy you. The whole .com is like not healthy at all." But he was not at all faced by that. He methodically went through. I think he is a finance person. The solidity that he brought. So that one thing that I have taken. So however bad the situation is, I'm not going to be affected by it. What is the worst thing that can happen? Just go, cut everything out, go to the core of it. This is the problem that needs solving right now. Today, this is the only problem that I need to solve. Other things, we will deal with it tomorrow. That has helped me a lot. That practical experience of spending time. I have quite a few people that I have picked up marketing and sales. Obviously, with an engineering background and no business background whatsoever, there was selling something. It's an extremely difficult thing. Now I am very confident of selling anything. Put me in charge of sales in some product that I have not seen at all. Half a day is enough for me to pick enough of that, and then from next day onwards I will be able to sell.
No wonder you are on TV debates these days.
Yeah. So quickly choose a position, pick up 2-3 points and sell.
Thanks, Badri. So any more questions, guys? Anybody? No? Okay. I would like to welcome Satish Ramanathan. He is also from IIT Madras. To actually summarize this long speech for us and do it very concisely, Satish. So.
One of the key things that I have often wondered that what is it that we all learn in IIT is the preparatory portion itself. The JEE itself is such a, shall we say, excruciating journey in terms of the effort, in terms of what you put in terms of what comes out. It's ultimately sacrifice. So one of the things that you learn inside IIT and before it is that you should be prepared to give your 102% or 101% and be willing to give up everything that you have for taking it forward. And that ultimately that lesson carries you through time and again. I've seen it happening in my life. I'm sure that you learned that from Badri's story as well. Time and again, the willingness to give it up to give up everything that you have and follow your dreams. The second thing that comes out is, of course, serendipity. Serendipity is something which you can call it talent, or you can say blessings from God, or whatever it is. But whatever happens, happens for the best, and it kind of takes you through several things. So you all go in one route, but we all ultimately branch out. So we all start out the same, and we all find a unique place in this world, which is how we branch out and become successful in our own way. So in Badri's case, from Cornell to Prick Info and to publishing, I think that's serendipity for you at the extreme. And the third aspect that I can relate to and understand is spider's web. No matter what you do, you never know what knowledge comes useful when. So it's better to keep on reading and grabbing that extra bit of knowledge. And that hunger for knowledge is what keeps you alive, what keeps you going, and what will ultimately help you when the chips are down. Finally, success. Success comes on the steps of failure. You get success only after you fail, and not necessarily there are people who are luckier than that, but for the ordinary folk that we all are, there will be failures. We need to grit through it, grind through it, and climb up and get out of it, and hopefully success smiles on us. And last but not the least is the ability to share, because your success, your experiences are unique. The ability to share, to mentor, to bring the next generation up without insecurity is what will finally place you in a unique position. It may not be reflected in the terms of your bank balance, but it will definitely make you a better human being. And that, I think, is something which I could understand and I want to bring forward. I can see most of it happening in front of my eyes through Stephen, where he started off as a small business, and today, 3 years back, it was half this hall. Now it's double the size, and probably 2 years or 3 years from now, we will be filling up the whole floor.
So you need to move to a football stadium.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Can you please stay back? Badri, sir.
I want to give this on behalf of all of us to Badri. Let's give a big hand. So Badri mentioned that he has not read one book. So I remember, that's easy to remember because he has read many books. So I actually managed to make bring a copy for him today. So this is the Age of Kalki. So we have not read it. So this is for you, Badri. And I think many of you joined through the course of the speech. So I just want to repeat. So Badri doesn't take any cash or any gift for the presentation or the talk today. So whatever we plan to give him, we will give it to the Adyar Cancer Society. Okay?